Yo, what's going on, you guys? Today we have the first quest, specifically the first quest for the Wheel of Fate. Now, I don't know if anyone was able to get through all three quests, but this video, I'm gonna do it a bit differently. So this video is going to be a guide for the Wheel of Fate quest, and basically, we're not going through like footage I've recorded. We're just going to go through a guide of just the whole map itself, because it is easier to just show you guys the nodes and everything without being in the fight. There are some connection issues right now, but I'd rather just show you guys through the map right here and have a separate video with all the recordings of the fights, so that way you guys can reference instead of it being just kind of jumbled up. So in this quest, you can only use 7 stars, and those 7 stars have to be specific tags for each fight. And this is the first quest. There are 3 quests. I don't know why it's lagging right now, but we'll get into it in a second. There are 3 quests. The rewards get better as you go, and starting with this first quest, it's the same defenders for every quest, so you can like basically do all these fights and have the muscle memory to do them again. But here we go. All right, finally loaded. The game has been acting very weird for me today. It's been very odd. But starting with this fight, I'm not gonna spend too long on this, but let's just get through what I did. And basically, I watched multiple creators like basically Biro Man, Legacy, and KT1 just to get through this first quest. But yeah, by the way, the selector in the final quest is going to depend on, I think, a certain amount of these champions, or maybe all of them you can select from. And the selector, I don't know if Human Torch is included because he's a July 4th like specific champion, but a lot of these people or champions will be in the selector at the very end of this Wheel of Fate thing, at the the last quest. So starting with the first fight, Gorr, he is immune to bleed. We have Pierce, then we have Obstinate Charge, so goes stun immune and then cooldown. You can parry him again. Very simple. So you just parry him once, you have to parry him again, because he goes stun immune after the first parry for 8, and then the immunity goes away for 8 seconds when you perform a well-timed block. And then every 10 seconds you have to be hitting Gorr, or you're going to be rooted every 10 seconds. And then there's 4 special lockdown charges. So after Gorr uses 3 special ones, or after he uses 3 or 4 special attacks, my bad. After he uses 4 special attacks, his special lockdown charges get to 0, and then he cannot use his special one until he uses another special attack, and then it's reset back to 4. So basically, he just uses 4 special ones, and then he has to use a special 2 so he can use his special ones again. So you'll understand when you're in the fight. I mean, it might be easier with footage if I had footage here, but that's why I'm going to have a separate video coming out after this, hopefully relatively soon. You could reference if you want, and yeah, you'll see it visually, but I would like to explain it in this way so there's not like a fight going on, there's too much information being processed. For this fight, we have 2024 champions. I believe that's the only restriction. I ended up using She-Hulk, or Deathless She-Hulk, I believe. Is she really 2024? It didn't feel like that long ago. I guess she was 2024. Deathless She-Hulk. So there are other options, and we can't see for this first one, but we can see for the other ones. But you can use other champions, I believe, like let's actually just go here real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on this because this video can't be super long, because no one wants to watch a super long video, but I want to give a good explanation. 2024 champions, as you can see, you could use like Deathless Thanos maybe, but Deathless Thanos is like, Gorr's going to be regen, like these champions, Gorr's going to be regenning and these champions don't really help that. He's also bleed immune to White Tiger, basically, and you're gonna have to deal with that, which sucks. So I'd recommend going in with Deathless She-Hulk. That's who I personally used, and there's not really any better option here, but you can definitely try other options. This is the first fight, so you can experiment. I can't give you every good option because I know who I used and who other people used. A majority of people did use Deathless She-Hulk. I think I saw... I don't know. I think I mainly saw Deathless She-Hulk. I don't really think I saw anyone else. So that's the option. And if you don't have her, I mean, this challenge is for really in-depth rosters, like really in-depth. You have to have a lot to do this challenge. So first option, Deathless She-Hulk. Now moving on, so we can get through this. Dazzler. Power generator, so whenever the attacker gains a bar of power, the defender gains 2 dynamo charges. Okay, and then when the defender is knocked down, they consume all of those charges to gain 30% of a bar of power for each one consumed. Intercepting the defender removes that 1 dynamo charge, so whenever you knock her down, she might gain some power. If she has dynamo charges, after you gain a bar of power, and then the defender's attacks have a 60% chance to inflict a suppression passive. No, nothing crazy. Then if you're far away from her, you get rooted. So you have to be close to her and the limber, which is great. For this fight, these are the options. I forget her awakened ability, but I don't think you want someone with physical damage like Null or something, because she can reflect that, I'm pretty sure. So I just had to go with America Chavez because she has energy attacks, and she's also not a bad option in general. But Penny Parker I know does work. She also has energy stuff, I'm pretty sure. So Penny Parker does work as well. Next we have Lady Deathstrike. Oh, by the way, these first two weren't that hard for me. The Gorr fight might have taken me a few revives. Actually, Deathless She-Hulk did really good, honestly. So first two fights not that bad. Next we have this kind of annoying fight. So Lady Deathstrike, she's gonna regen if you... Let's just go right here. She regens by a special 1 or special 2 when she's struck. She regens the damage taken. So it's kind of hard to do damage with your special attacks. And she has... and her armor break kind of activates this. So you're gonna need someone who can armor break without their special attacks. And then also you can't do damage unless it's your special attack because of adaptive power shield. So for each bar of power spent you gain more damage. So, and then also the hard knock life, whatever, and then after every 15 seconds the attacker's power is removed unless they're performing a special attack or dodging backwards. So make sure you're dodging backwards. Most of the time you will have to be dodging backwards. You may use a special attack, you may be using a special attack, but most of the time you will be dodging backwards. Sorry, a little alarm right there. Alright, so for this, Vox does energy damage. I see, I don't know every interaction, you guys, but I think I think Vox could work, but I would rather save him for a different fight in this quest. I don't think she regenerates like damage over time, energy damage over time. So Vox could work, I think, but I'd save him for a different fight. Guardian could work, but then again his special attack damage is the main thing, and that's not going to really work here. Deathless Vision, Red Skull, whatever, no, not really. Prowler, not really, same thing. Punisher, nah. And so I'm gonna tell you guys what I know, because I don't know all these fights. I'm sure I know Corvus Glaive works. I think Legacy used Corvus Glaive. I ranked up Corvus Glaive because he has armor breaks on his parries and doesn't need special attacks to do damage. But then when he uses a special attack, Lady Deathstrike will be armor broken, so she won't regen. So Corvus Glaive probably works the best, honestly. if you have him ranked up as a 7-star. I do not, so I ended up going for Iron Man Infinity War because he has armor breaks on his heavy attacks, and then when that happens you can use your special attacks. So I'll go for heavy attacks and then special 3s to apply my plasmas, and then you can kind of rinse and repeat to do some more damage, or you could just go for heavy attacks and then special 2s, or heavy attacks and special 1s, because you'll get the damage over time on her, and the armor break should kind of mitigate the regen. And it's just a long fight with Iron Man Infinity War. Again, the footage will be posted on my channel. But that's it for that fight. Not too annoying, just a really long fight, like 12 minutes. So it's a tough quest. This is the first one. This is supposed to be the easiest one. I think the tags just get harder in the other 2 quests, but this is already insanely hard. Alright, now for the most annoying fight I did ever, this whole quest. It honestly is pretty easy, but I just sucked because I hate fighting Enchantress. I haven't fought her enough. I don't play this game enough to learn her like that. But this fight right here, Matador, you guys should know how that works. So we got Matador. Her special attacks are passively unblockable, and Tranquilize doesn't really matter. So Onslaught's the best for this. Juggernaut probably could work, I believe, but that's the only 2 options really. I mean, for me personally right here, Jessica Jones could definitely probably work, but I'd go with Onslaught. And all you gotta do is get rid of her her spells. She has, of course, 3 different spells: blue, green, or no, it's purple, green, and orange. Purple and green are removed with a heavy attack plus intercepting her heavy attack. I forget which is which, but if she has the green and purple spells and you use a heavy attack into her heavy attack, it'll remove both those spells. And her orange spell is the most annoying because you have to intercept her with Onslaught, which sucks. So you have to intercept her, and if she has I think it's called haste. Is it called haste, where they go unstoppable when they're dashing forward? So if she has that, you have to wait out the haste so that way you can actually intercept her and remove her spell. And if you can't remove her spells, of course she does reflects damage on her special attacks, which really sucks. So in this fight, you gotta use Matador. You gotta learn how to dex her special 1s. It's basically one. Again, it'll be in a video I'll post soon, hopefully. Shortly after this, hopefully. You can do 3 dexes or 2 dexes. There's 3 hits in a special 1. It's a little blast, so you do 1 dex, and then you can do a predetermined dex, and then another dex. It's kind of hard to explain without showing you guys, but it's not too hard to dodge. It's just kind of, I'm just not used to dexing your special 1, but yeah, you gotta learn how to dex your special 1, and then once you use the Matador, you go for your obvious Onslaught cycle with the special 1, pause, then get the Matador to get you to a special 2, launch it, degen, just try to keep it paused, and do the basic Onslaught cycle with an unblockable, again, all these fights are like 2 million health, so an unblockable, like 2 million health Enchantress. Just absolutely like this is like it's just terrible. But this fight should be not that hard if you have Onslaught. It was really hard for me. I don't know why. She has so much going on in her kit. It's just like it's just a lot. But if you fight Enchantress enough, you should know how to do this fight. It's not that bad of a time, but yeah, 2.4 million health. Onslaught should cook it though, if you know how to play against Enchantress, basically. That took me like the most revives, I think. Next fight, so this Thor Ragnorok has the node that the Heimdall and the, what's it called, Epoch of Pain, the Heimdall had. Brace for impact, so he will go unstoppable if you try to knock him down. You have to interrupt his heavy attack to get rid of this brace passive for 16 seconds. And then you can knock him down safely. And then this stuff doesn't really matter, combo shield. And he's immune to all these power manipulation effects. He can also parry you, which sucks. So who do you use here? Because he also has a lot of power gain. And you need to be able to knock him down to get rid of the power gain. So you're going to want to get rid of the brace, like the note says, by interrupting his heavy attack. And the best option will be Adam Warlock here, because he can go unblockable and kind of mitigate Thor Ragnarok's like base kit auto block and just get through his power gain. I'm pretty sure. Just make sure you get the brace passive removed, and Adam Warlock can handle this fight really well. So he can solo this fight. And then again, if you get pushed to a special 3, or if this guy gets pushed to a special 3, Thor Ragnarok cannot deal more than 20% of the opponent's max health in damage in a special 3 attack. It's increased to 30 if you're suffering from an armor break, but then again, it can't do that much damage to your health. However, he gains the Thunder God's Wrath passive, which does a lot of burst damage, so you might still die. But don't be too worried if you push him to a special 3, because it shouldn't kill you, but it might. So yeah, Adam Warlock, you just get rid of the brace, and then you start throwing into his block, and you throw a special attack when he gets the power gain, basically, to get rid of the power gain, and you should be good. It's honestly not that bad of a time. Next, we have Arcade. In Arcade, stun immune, he can parry, you gain extra spirit, and then if the defender is struck by heavy attack, a timer starts. If you do another heavy attack, you get faltered. So not a lot of heavy attacks. Who you're going to use here is the Vox you've been waiting to use. So there are some other options you could use, but I would use Vox right here. Has the Undermine and just annihilates this fight with the constant degen cycle. He has a lot of health, of course, 2.3 million, but you can get through it with Vox. Very simple fight. I literally have nothing else to say about that fight. Just Vox and a lot of health, and make sure you have your Undermine so he doesn't parry, so he doesn't auto block you. So only throw special ones. Only throw special ones. Next fight, we have the Leader. So the Leader, while close to the defender, you regen health, okay? When you're far away from him, you get degened passively. So you have to be close to the Leader, or you're gonna get degened. And after you do a successful parry, you gain 50% of a bar of power over 5 seconds, and it does not stack. So you can get yourself power, but whenever the defender is struck, there's a 20% chance for the attack to be inflicted with a 5% disorient. Not that bad, really. In intercepting the defender's attacks pauses all debuffs on the attacker. So if you're suffering from a lot of bad debuffs, don't intercept them. But honestly, this fight kind of gives you stuff here. If you have a ton of petrifies on you from the Leader, his base kit, you will die though. So don't get hit, basically, right? Or is it like hitting his block? I don't really know. Just don't get a ton of petrifies on you from the Leader, and you can be able to regen yourself and give yourself power with those nodes. And right here, I would use Black Cat, but I don't have her as a 7-star. So if you don't have Black Cat, because Black Cat can constantly cycle through her special 2s in this fight. Remember, I just watched a ton of like streamers and stuff, and content on people doing this. I would use Mantis, Titania, Shuri. Yeah, sure, they probably could work, but I just went with the safe option that I saw, which was Mantis. I wasn't trying to fumble and sell this whole thing and have to restart, so I used Mantis. She's pretty good. Of course, used a ton of boosts. Mantis just cycle through her little Mandela, whatever it's called, cycle through Mantis's 20 charges, and heavy attack, get the big furies, and throw a special 2, and you can constantly do that with the power gain and everything this fight provides you. So Mantis worked pretty well. Again, a few minutes long each fight, but Mantis works really well. Just a ton of crits. Basically, like, what is it? Like 5 to 10% health per special 2 cycle with her. Pretty good. Next up, you're gonna need, this could be a roadblock. You guys, we got Bullseye. Whenever the defender activates a special attack, they purify debuffs. So no debuffs on him. Or just not a ton of debuffs. And the defender starts with 3 indefinite cruelty passive, so cruelty. Alright. We have a lot of decisions here, you know. Nick Fury, you could just cycle to your life model decoy, which works really well. Maybe. I don't know, actually. Captain Marvel, meh. Sunspot, eh. Warlock, meh. But we have Mr. Sinister. He is the key. Now, I said you don't want a lot of debuffs because he will purify if he uses a special attack, but he's only going to purify 4, and Mr. Sinister can apply up to like 10. You could even get to 11 degens per special 1 cycle, and you can constantly pause your degens with Mr. Sinister, and when you bleed yourself with Mr. Sinister, you get a ton of health from willpower. You need willpower there. So yeah, Mr. Sinister, great option. He is number 1, top tier, amazing for that fight. You need Mr. Sinister for that fight. I'm sorry. A lot of people probably won't have him, so it's gonna suck. But you're gonna need him, man. They should have made this quest the first quest where you can have 6 stars. So, excuse me. So more people can do this quest because it's a bit annoying, man. And this next fight we have Human Torch, very tough, but not really. When Human Torch has at least 7 smolders passives on himself and 20 temperature, he enters Nova form for 7 seconds. Temperature, obviously, by getting hit by energy attacks. Charging is heavy. And Smolder, I don't really know how Smolder is activated. We can see. Sorry, I don't think it's even that important though. But Smolders I think just give him more damage. I don't know how he really gained the Smolders, but you don't have to deal with Smolders in this fight with this specific champion, or maybe all these champions, I don't know. But hold on, because we have adaptive override. This node really is important. Is really important. So all of the attacker's special attacks and basic attacks are overridden to be contacted and deal only physical damage or energy damage. So this is that one node on like that Absorbing Man fight a while ago. And every time you use a heavy attack, you cycle between using energy and physical damage. You need physical damage against Human Torch. If you have energy damage, he will be gaining a ton of smolders and temperature and Nova Flame you to death. So you need to stay in your physical damage form. That's pretty much it. But then we have the defender gains indefinite protection passives every 14 seconds, reducing damage by 30 seconds. By 30%. Sorry. Remove 1 protection passive from the defender when they are struck by the first medium combo ender, the final hit of a heavy attack, or the final hit of a special attack. After a protection has been removed by one of these, one of these attacks, they cannot be removed again until reset. So attack actions are reset after completing each one once. So max stacks 5. So this is kind of hard to understand, but he can gain 5 protections, and there are 3 waves to remove the protections: medium combo ender, heavy attack, or final hit of special attack. And you cannot use that again until you've used all the other ways to remove protections. So if he has too many protections, is reducing damage, you're going to need to use your heavy attack and switch to energy damage. But if you do that, you're going to need to use another heavy attack immediately after, so you're not doing energy damage. But you just remove protections through those methods and you should be okay. Again, have the visuals out soon in a different video. And when the attack in this fight, or this node, when the attacker gains a bar of power, a 10-second timer starts. If this timer expires, the defender gains a debuff immunity. So you have to knock down Human Torch before 10 seconds, or else he goes debuff immune, which is actually pretty important, because While the defender is inflicted with 3 or more debuffs, the attacker is immune to damage over time debuffs. So, right here, all spider characters basically. You gotta use Spider-Ham. I mean, he can't really use anyone else, I don't think. Maybe Silk? But you can't keep your debuffs on him really with Silk. So I think it's Spider-Ham. I use Spider-Ham. Once you get at least 3 Porker Poppers, you're not going to take any Incinerates. And then you keep knocking him down to not give him the debuff immunity. And then use the methods to get rid of the protections. And then stay in physical damage mode and you will be good. Then you just cycle through your Porker Poppers, do a ton of damage, and the fight is over before you know it. But actually it does take a while, so all these fights take a long time. This one's not that bad though. You have to know what you're doing though. You need the physical damage or you're gonna melt. So, kind of complicated fight, but you can get the hang of it pretty quickly. Pretty interesting fight. Pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty interesting fight. But next up we have Serpent. So Serpent seems like he might be terrible, right? And he is, but not in this fight. So, while far away, the defender's fury, unblockable, true damage, and power gain buffs are paused. So you cannot dash away far from him. And when the defender is immune to or inflicted with a nullified Faith Seal or Stagger, they become stun immune. So none of that to make him stun immune. But then again, if he's stun immune, that's not the worst thing ever. Because you have redlining, so when you have more than 33% of your max power, you gain a 75% energized passive. But if you exceed more than 75% of your max power, you're immediately drained down to 0. So you can cycle a bunch of basically special 1s or special 2s. And the best one for this fight, the best champion, is Spiral. So you can use probably a lot of these champions, maybe Kindred, Wiccan, maybe, but I'd use Spiral. I used a rank 1 unawakened Spiral just with boost and a relic. And all I did was use the red lining to my advantage, and I gained a ton of power because Spiral literally is meant to counter Serpent. And all you gotta do is parry him and cycle your special 1s and just hit him. That's all you got to do. And also block his special attacks. And you can also dex it because you are Spiral. She can dex his special attacks. So the special 1 cycle in this fight is cheese. It is so easy. Alright, let's finish this up. It's already been like 30 minutes. Next up we have Spiral. So she's actually kind of annoying. She's one of the most annoying in this for sure. She's definitely up there with Enchantress. So we have more unblockable. So if you land the same basic attack twice, she goes unblockable for 6 seconds. It's a buff. And then obstinate charge. So if you have to parry her twice, basically, you know, because she's stun immune, and the immunity goes on cooldown. And then the defending Spiral fires her dancing blades when activating a special attack. So she throws her dancing blades when she activates a special attack, which you have to dex. And then every 15 hits on the attacker's combo meter, you get faltered. So pretty annoying. Plus Spiral is kind of just an annoying defender. Who are we gonna use here? Arnim Zola could work. I just find it hard having to get into his rotation and cycle of damage in a fight like this. But he could technically, I think, work. Then we have Professor X, which I used. So you just got to cycle to like a special 2 or special 3, get 100 of your Cerebro charges, and then throw it, and then just cycle your special attacks like normal Professor X gameplay, and use heavy attacks to gain your prowess. But in this fight, you just gotta play around the nodes, basically with Professor X, and play Professor X normally. I think that's basically what I did. And so I get to special 3, get my 100 Cerebro charges, launch it, heavy, special 2, heavy, special 2, heavy, special 1, heavy, special 1, and they just kind of cycle, get all your prowess up. And the fight should be not over, but it should be fine. I mean, I just kept dying because of the ruptures from her and the dancing blades and all that stupid unblockable. But yeah, it's just a very tricky fight, but Professor X works pretty well. Deathless She-Hulk might work well, but again, she has to be used for the first fight, man. You got to use her there. And Prowler and Professor X apply falters to the opponent, but Spiral is immune to falter, so you cannot utilize falter on her. Prowler could work. It's just Prowler could work, but I don't know. It's up to you really who you have ranked up. Kind of, I just use Professor X. Most of these, like all of these fights, are because I saw gameplay of people using these champions and I had them. Just the safest option for me personally. Alright, next up, last 2 fights. We have Dust. So, every armor up on Dust grants her 15% chance to glance. And every 6 seconds, she gains an armor up unless she is hit. And whenever you... Oh my gosh, excuse me. Whenever you parry her, 1 buff is nullified both off of you and her. So you can nullify that armor up right here by parrying her. But when she's inflicted with a non-damaging debuff, she gains an unblockable passive for 8 seconds. So really try to hit her before this timer expires, because then you're going to have to parry her because you don't want to glance. If you glance, she gains her sand. She puts the sand on you and goes to her sandstorm, which starts to do a ton of damage to you. So you're going to want to block. You're going to want someone who can block a lot of attacks so you don't have to parry. And also someone who doesn't have a lot of non-damaging debuffs. So, what do we think about that? Well, so what do we have here? Angela could imply armor breaks and do some good stuff, honestly. Lady Deathstrike could work. A lot of these champions could work. I know Ironheart works well. She just kind of takes a while and her debuffs expire. Obviously, it's kind of hard to keep up. Deathless Guillotine, maybe. I don't really know. I haven't experimented with these champions. But I use Guillotine 2099. So what I do is get Dust into a corner. Just block all of her stuff, basically. And cycle special ones to power drain Dust. And just stop her from using special attacks. Just corner her. Get to 100 combo meter. And start launching my damage, ramping it up. And I'd eventually just die when she gets like a good hit in. But yeah, sometimes she'll get an armor up, and sometimes you're going to have to parry and deal with the unblockable. And that's just how it's going to work, and you might need to intercept. But overall, it's a really patient fight. Use whoever you want to use. I use GT 2099, gets the ramp up damage. And finally, Deathless Thanos. All we got here is he has unblockable special attacks, and you get weakness if you land the same type of basic attack twice in a row. It's honestly a pretty decent weakness. So, you might want to avoid using the same basic attack twice, but it doesn't really matter because you have to worry about everything else. Deathless Thanos is already an annoying defender, 2.9 million health. You're just going to have to deal with all his normal kit and then all these nodes. So unblockable special attacks, you can kind of ignore this one, and then at the start of the fight you're inflicted with a reverse controls passive for 8 seconds. When it expires or fails to trigger, it goes on cooldowns for 8 seconds, then repeats. So unless you have Jean Grey, which she's not listed here, but unless you have Jean Grey, you cannot be reverse control immune for this fight. So, and she just came out as a 7-star. So she works, and that removes a lot of hard stuff from the fight with the reverse controls. But if you don't have Jean Grey, you're going to have to deal with the reverse controls and everything else with one of these champions. Now, what I know is Deadpool X-Force works. and Sunspot works. I use Sunspot because I just thought it would be more viable, but honestly Sunspot was kind of trash, not gonna lie. You want him ranked up, because every time I cycled with like 3 or 4 solar flares to my special 2 with Sunspot, I'd only do like maybe 5% of Thanos' health, so that kind of sucks. But it took a while. I just had to keep throwing my special 1s and 2s and then reset with my special 3, but eventually I just die because he'd go unstoppable or just catch me off guard and you know, kill me with a special 2 or something. But yeah, a pretty difficult fight with reverse controls and everything. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the quest. Sunspot can work. Deadpool X-Force probably works better, just more simple damage. And these other champions here probably could work as well. Danny, I don't know if she's reverse control immune. I don't think so, but she could probably work. It's just you can't really do a normal rotation with her. I think she could work though. It's just I don't know. I just think Sunspot and Deadpool X-Force. Majority of people used. Majority of people used Jean Grey because they got her from the Titan. But besides Jean Grey, because she's so new, Deadpool, X-Force, and Sunspot are the way to go. Domino could probably work as well, but her lucky stuff might get you screwed over. I don't know. I wouldn't rely on her. But yeah, that's going to do it for the quest. Sunspot, Deadpool X-Force. You know, did some research on my own. I used Sunspot. I would recommend Deadpool X-Force or Jean Grey instead. But that's going to do it for the quest. Pretty difficult quest. I know this video is very long. I tried my best, guys. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the quest. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this guide. I'll try to get the visual footage out as soon as I can after this video comes out. Just got life stuff going on, so like I always do, I know I'm still trying to get this important content out. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this guide. And of course, I'll be seeing you guys all very soon.